You're probably holding a phone right now. Or maybe you're watching this on a laptop that's got more computing power than the entire Apollo moon mission. But have you ever really stopped to wonder where the heart of that machine, the actual chip, really comes from?
Okay, let's just get right into it. If your first thought was, oh, Silicon Valley, well, you're about 30 years out of date. And if you said Taiwan, you're getting warmer, for sure, but you're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. The real answer, the one that's kind of shaping the entire future of technology, actually lies on a humid tropical peninsula.
And yeah, that place is Malaysia. It controls a stunning 13% of the world's entire chip assembly and testing market. Now, 13% might not sound like a huge slice of the pie, but in a global supply chain, that's not a percentage. That's a choke point. It's how this quiet nation kind of accidentally ended up with the entire tech world in a headlock.
So, how on earth did this even happen? Let's dig into our first section here, the accidental tech hub. This is the story of how Malaysia went from muddy fields to microchips. To get it, you've got to go all the way back to 1972. A state in Malaysia called Penang was in a total economic freefall. Its freeport status was gone, and unemployment was at a staggering 16%. So, in this desperate Hail Mary pass, the local government pitched this absolutely wild idea to American tech companies. Hey, come here, we'll give you a tax holiday for a decade, just please bring your factories. And you know what? They came. Intel, AMD, National Semiconductor, a group of 8 companies that became known in local legend as the 8 Samurai. Now you have to appreciate just how absurd this was. Back in 1972, Intel was basically a startup. They were flying their engineers into what was, and I mean this literally, a paddy field, a swamp where cows sometimes outnumbered the cars. It was an insane gamble that completely changed the course of the country.
All right, let's move on, because this is where it gets really interesting. For 50 years, Malaysia specialized in the part of the process that nobody else really wanted. This is the story of how the ugly stepchild of the industry ended up breaking the world.
To really get Malaysia's role, you have to know that there are 2 main parts to making a chip. First, there's the front end. That's the sexy part, right? It's what TSMC does in Taiwan, etching billions of transistors onto silicon. It's pure nanotechnology wizardry. And then, there's the back end. That's what Malaysia does. It's called OSAT, Outsourced Semiconductor Assembly and Test. And for decades, this was seen as the boring, low-value grunt work.
So what does that actually mean? Well, think of it this way. A finished wafer from Taiwan is like a naked brain. It's absolutely brilliant, but it's incredibly delicate and totally useless on its own. Malaysia's job is to take that wafer, slice it up into tiny individual chips, put each one into a protective plastic casing, basically giving it a skull, and then wire it up so it can actually talk to the rest of your computer. It's the final, crucial step that turns a piece of silicon into something we can actually use. So, why does this grunt work matter so much? Well, in 2021, we all found out the hard way. Malaysia went into a strict COVID lockdown. Those assembly factories, they shut down. And the result was an absolute heart attack for the global economy. The auto industry alone lost an estimated $210 billion in revenue. Why? Because they couldn't get the tiny $2 chips that run everything from your windshield wipers to your windows. The world suddenly realized that the ugly stepchild was actually a single point of failure for everything.
But here's where the story gets really juicy. That boring work, it's now the absolute cutting edge. See, we're hitting the physical limits of how small we can make transistors. So the future isn't about making one single perfect chip anymore. It's about stacking smaller, specialized chips. They call them chiplets, like they're microscopic Legos. And guess who has 50 years of experience stacking and packaging tiny, delicate things? Yep, Malaysia. Their old, boring specialty is now the key to building the next generation of AI chips.
Which brings us right to today. All that expertise has put Malaysia in this incredibly unique and powerful position. So for Section 3, let's talk about the geopolitical safe house and why everyone from Intel to Nvidia is suddenly courting Malaysia like it's the most popular kid in school.
I mean, let's be real. We are living through what you might call the greatest geopolitical divorce in history, the United States versus China. And just like in any messy breakup, all the big companies are terrified of getting caught in the middle. They're desperately trying to secure custody of their supply chains.
This panic has created this huge business strategy called China+1. And what that means is companies aren't just packing up and leaving China.
Instead, they keep their factory in China for the huge Chinese market, but they build a second, backup factory in a safe, neutral country. It's all about de-risking your global operations.
And Malaysia has become the #1 destination for this strategy. So why? Well, first, there's that 50 years of experience, what economists call institutional memory. The roads, the specialized gas lines, the skilled suppliers, it's all already there. But the real killer app? It's neutrality. Malaysia is friendly with both Washington and Beijing. It's become the Switzerland of the East, the one safe house in a very, very dangerous neighborhood.
But, and this is a big but, this whole boom is incredibly fragile. This is not a guaranteed win. Which brings us to Section 4, the 3 big threats. These are the internal flaws that could derail this entire golden opportunity.
Threat number 1, brain drain. The country has the talent, but it keeps leaving. Just look at this. A fresh engineering graduate in Penang might make around 3,500 Malaysian ringgit a month. But just a 1-hour flight away in Singapore, that same exact job pays the equivalent of over 12,000 ringgit. It's a massive, massive brain drain that's starving the country of the very people it needs to grow.
Threat number 2, the grid is dirty. A shocking 80% of Malaysia's electricity still comes from fossil fuels like coal and gas. And this is a huge problem. Their clients, companies like Apple and Nvidia, have made these massive public promises to be carbon neutral. They just cannot have their advanced AI chips being made in factories powered by coal. If Malaysia can't provide green electrons, these companies will just pack up and go somewhere that can.
And finally, Malaysia is caught in what you could call a regional sandwich. On one side, you've got Vietnam, where labor is roughly half the cost, so Malaysia can't compete on price anymore. Then on the other side, you have India, which is throwing just an insane amount of subsidies at companies. We're talking paying for up to 70% of the cost of a new plant. So Malaysia is too expensive to be cheap and too poor to offer massive handouts. Its only option is to compete on pure competence.
And that pressure forces a critical all-or-nothing choice. So let's get to our final section, the final leap. This is about how Malaysia must go from simply assembling chips to actually architecting them.
The core challenge, really, is simple to say, but incredibly difficult to pull off. Malaysia has to stop just building the chips and start designing them. This is that crucial move up the value chain, from relying on physical labor to owning valuable intellectual property.
Let me put it this way. For 50 years, Malaysia has been the expert chef, right? Perfectly assembling the ingredients that others provide. That's a good job, but it's a $15 an hour job. The goal now is to become the architect who owns the recipe for the special sauce. That's a $15 million job. This is the only way for the country to escape that middle-income trap that so many developing nations get stuck in.
And the good news is, this dream is already starting to take root. We're actually seeing homegrown Malaysian companies make this leap. You've got companies like Opstar that are collaborating directly with Samsung on advanced chip design. Another one, Skychip, has become a trusted intellectual property partner for Intel. So it is happening, but it's a desperate race against time.
So what is it? A golden ticket or a trapdoor? The US-China trade war and the AI boom have basically conspired to hand Malaysia this once-in-a-generation opportunity. The world needs its reliable, competent hand more than ever. But if it can't solve its brain drain, clean up its energy grid, and truly make that leap from builder to creator, this window of opportunity is going to slam shut. The muddy field became a factory, the factory became a hub, and now the hub must become a brain. The clock is ticking.